everyone, it's Deb from debwebbart here. Now, well, today, you know how when you have those days where you don't feel totally on top of things and you just feel a bit blah, okay? Anyway, so I was sitting in my studio, and when you feel like that, sometimes you just, I don't know, you just don't feel like arting. But you know that you'll feel better if you do. And so I sat for ages thinking, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. You know, when you like rule off, especially when you do lots of art, you rule out all the things that you don't want to do. And then I thought, well, I haven't done watercolour for a bit, so let's do that. And then I kind of struggled to find the colours I wanted, you know, and so it goes on. I have no idea what I'm going to be painting, and that's fine. So I'm literally going to just be seeing how I can get myself out of this funk and just taking you along for the ride. So let's see what I've got here, and I'll talk you through it. Okay, so I have this rough Artistico Fabriano 200 GSM watercolor paper. So I thought, well, I'll just use that. And so I taped that down. And this board that I've taped it down on is literally just one of the, you know, when you've had a big pad of paper and you left over, like you finished it all. This is just the board at the back. And then I just grabbed this cute little porcelain palette and some paints to go in that. It was already full of paint, but what I can tell you to do is, if you're wanting to change it up, don't waste the paint. Just grab a spare piece of watercolor paper and just, you know, wet it and just blob it on. It doesn't matter. And then I was using this long round brush, and then I literally just flicked water. And that's what made all these marks. So this piece of paper, it can be used for collage. If I want to, I could draw something on here, and I could then color that in, and especially if you do it in something like colored pencils or something like that. Really, there's so many things you can do with pieces of paper that are just patterns. Okay, so I decided I would grab these two brushes, this is a Thomas Schoeller by Neef. It's one of my favorite brushes, this one. Oh, it's gorgeous. It's a mop brush. And this one is a long round, Princeton long round. I like the long round because they're just that little bit longer, obviously. And then I picked up, so these were the colours. Now, I want to show you what happens when you're in a muddle. So when your head's in a muddle and you don't really know what to do, how to do it, like everything just goes a bit weird. I first of all just picked up a palette that already had colours on. And when I looked at them, I was like, these are really awful colours. They're not me, okay? They're not awful colours, they're just not me. So eventually, and I had gone to a whole lot of trouble. I was trying to match them and all sorts. Anyway, and then I just thought, no, just put that to the side. And then I grabbed some oil pastels. Let's just pop those up there. And thought, let's do some oil pastels as well. I have no idea if I'm going to use all these things, but I figured let's just have stuff with me and around so that if I do want to pick up something else and add to it, I can. But there is a good chance I'll probably have to leave it alone so that I let everything dry at some point. So there is that. Okay, and then I grabbed a pencil. This one is just a helio blue, reddish colour, and that's just a polychroma. And then these are the colours I ended up going with. So I was sort of looking at this part here. I was testing, okay? And yeah, brain not working, just like, ugh, everything's feeling hard. But in the end, I thought I'm just going to settle on 3, and then I ended up adding a Payne's Grey. I always like Payne's Grey, so I thought, I'll just add that in. So I have Daniel Smith. I have Quinacridone Deep Gold, one of my favourite colours. I have Opera Pink, also incredibly popular, favourite. And this one is Phthalo Blue. which is there. So that's really cool. And then the Payne's Grey is a Winsor Newton one. I was told it's one of the best Payne's Grey because, you know. So I thought, well, I'll have to get that one. So there you go. And these pastels are just Neo pastels. So let's see what happens. Let's see. Okay, so this is quite wet. I'm going to just let that dry while I just sit and think. But it did quite a good job in helping me to feel just a little bit calmer. And I think the thing that made me the most happy was this pink. Look at that, isn't it gorgeous? It's just so lovely. So I'm just going to stop for a bit and have a think, because I don't want to put anything else in here until it's nicely dry. And I might just bring some more colour and put extra things in. But really, it's not meant to be anything. All it's meant to be is a way to help me to feel happier. So there you go. Let's see what happens next. Okay, so I did get a little carried away while the camera was off. Sorry about that. But I'll show you what I was doing. So in here I've got some textures building, and so I've basically been using some stencils and a wet wipe, and then just rubbing. And what it does, it just removes some of the paint. And with this one, it's quite interesting because it comes out it carries over, and so it changes some of the colours, which I don't mind. I'm okay with. I'm not sure if this one will work because it's starting to get a little dry, but hey, you never know. It should work because it's watercolour, so, but it doesn't look like it's working. Oh, there's a light indentation there. Okay. Obviously, if I want to, I can use colour through that. Just having a little bit of fun. You know, when you just... Oh, look. See, that made a nice little pattern. Oh, that's so sweet. Okay. Let's... Well, that was a bit of a technical challenge. But sometimes these challenges can be great gifts. They help me to pause, stop, take some time. Lately, I've truly seen how important creating is. When we create, we open up parts of our heart that needs nurturing and healing. The stillness or joy or movement, even all three, create this opening within us. It's like we give ourselves permission to play. I believe one of the purposes of life is to play. As a society, we've had the concept of fun, play, happiness slowly removed from us. It is now time to reclaim our fun. Give yourself permission to laugh, permission to be joyful, permission to nurture yourself, permission to play, permission to create. To do these things for yourself, it's not selfishness. To do these things for yourself is showing yourself love. Our lives are not here to only serve others. Our lives are firstly about our ability to show love to ourselves. Once we're in a balanced, joyful, peaceful, loved state, then we can serve from a place of love. I don't know about you, but I used to build up a lot of resentment, and that really affected me. And I realized it was because I hadn't given myself time, and so could build myself up from that place of love. If I served with love, it comes from it's in such a contrasting place, isn't it? So I just know how important it is to balance yourself first and to take time for yourself. And you know, even if you have a young family, when I first, I had depression for a very long time, and my family was quite young, and I had to try and find the time to make time for myself. It was fortunate my husband was very supportive, so that was good. But even if you don't have a husband, or you're single, or there's something that distracts you, see if you can make some time for yourself. We all have someone, we all have friends or family that we can speak to and ask for help. So you're worth it. You're so worth it. And we need to remember that. We are amazing. We are worth it. We need to embrace ourselves and how much we love and how much we have to offer the world. When we can embrace that, then we can truly stand in our power and offer the world something special. And each one of us has that. It's not just a select few. Each one of us, even if your influence is only for just around your neighborhood, maybe you're really good with your neighbors, that sort of thing. That's not my strength. I wish it was. But for me, I just know that I just love helping others. And I get to do that in my day job, where I serve people and help them find the right art supplies. And I know it sounds like it's just a simple job, and yes, of course, but in that job I come into contact with a lot of people, and a lot of people just need conversation. And so if you do have that opportunity in your job, step into that. I think you'll be surprised at how much of an impact you can make with this job. So back to looking at the painting. There is some courage that is required to put a very dark, contrasting colour on the artwork that you've been creating. I remember for a very long time, I used to find this very difficult. And I had to work out, why was I so hesitant at putting such contrast into my work? And I realized it was literally just because I had this fear that I was messing things up. But you have to come to a conclusion that, especially when you're doing something just from a perspective of, I'm just having fun, I'm not actually rating this at all. When you have got that, you have to keep reminding yourself, listen, this is just for fun. Let me do this. Let's see what happens. Because that's just your fear talking. I found that with art, it really has opened my eyes to helping you to get rid of various things in life. And one big thing in life, certainly for me, has been fear. Fear of so many things. When I was growing up in South Africa, it was the fear, actual physical fears, due to the crime, and then you carry that over into keeping yourself small, keeping yourself like you don't want anyone to notice you because, well, what if they don't like you? And or maybe keeping yourself small because in your art world you just don't feel like you're good enough. Or there's so many reasons, and all of that is based in a fear. It could be a fear for your safety. It could be a fear for people not liking you. It could be, there's so many different fears out there. You could keep going on forever. But what I found is that when you paint in an intuitive way and you just apply the paint without any thought beforehand. I mean, there's a little bit of thought going into things. You can see I'm thinking with the way my brush is going. I'm tracking and trying to make it flow. So I'm working out what will make the eye go. And I think that's, where will the eye go, basically? That's just me and the way I paint. But I think when you paint intuitively and you're not doing too much thought, there's not much thought there, what you do is you give yourself permission to stuff up. And you have to keep reminding yourself, it's just art. I'm just painting on a piece of paper. And if that's what it's going to take to help you to loosen up or to help you to just conquer some silly little fears, then let's do that. And obviously we all have, there's a lot of different fears. When I was growing up, it wasn't a fear, but, well, maybe it was, whatever I drew or painted would be really heavily criticized by my mother. And there's that sort of thing can really make you not try. It can also make you try and hide. So that's what I did. And it's taken me a long time to just embrace that it doesn't matter what things look like. Just the main thing that matters is that you are expressing yourself in a way that makes you feel happy. And if things don't work, well, who cares? Cut it up into strips and turn it into collage. It's like, it's really not a big deal. So I did. I had to work on myself quite a lot to get to myself into a point where I was a bit happier. Okay, so same thing happens here. So now I grab a pencil and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do some scribbles. Now, I don't do a lot of scribbles on my work, but I'm trying to correct that. I'm trying to just embrace it a little bit more. So I thought, well, today's the day. And this kind of scared me because I was like, no, I'm gonna do it big. And then when I did it, I was like, oh no. But then afterwards I look at it and think, oh, that doesn't look so bad. So isn't it interesting how your mind can just, I don't know, it steps up and it tells you different things and somehow we believe it. So we've got to break that. I bought this pen just recently and it's got such a long brush nib. I really like it. Let me see if I can just get its name. It's a brush sign pen. I'll have to look into that. I'll have to put a link or something down there. Oh, it's by Pentel. But look at it. So I got this beautiful bright pink one. I got a black one, which you'll see later, and a grey one, because for me, I was trying out something with adding water to them. And if you do it real fast, then they can bleed. So it's, I like to experiment and get the most out of the art supplies that I use. But how fun is it? And holding it right at the tip, like at the top, is so good because it helps you to just stay that little bit loose. And so if you get a wonky line, just embrace it. Life never goes in a straight line. It's wonky. So, yeah. Okay, so now I'm using oil pastels and I quite like doing oil pastel dots. It's really fun. And you can use a rubber-tipped blender, which you'll see come into play later. And when you're doing this, I like adding that little bit of white because I think it just it lifts the colour, doesn't make it quite as flat. Okay, I guess you could do a different colour there. I just happened to choose white. And I don't really have a rhyme or reason as to where I'm putting things, I'll be honest. I just flip-flop around and just see where I think it goes. And for some, I think you can almost, it's almost like you listen to yourself. When you're in a space where you allow yourself to create like this, you need to learn to listen
to the cues. And what that also does is it will help you in your life where you need to stop and listen to what your intuition is telling you. Intuition is just another word for inner tuition, and it's your inner teaching. We all have that voice that can guide us, but we often, the world is so noisy, we often don't hear it or pay attention to it. And if we have our heads buried in phones or in computers or iPads, whatever you're using, that also takes the ability to hear away. And I think that's it's a big thing to consider. I've been trying to pull away from socials. Oh, and don't worry, I did go back to that other pink one. It disturbed me when I found it and realised I hadn't put white on it. See, this is the black pen. Yeah. So yes, I think it's important to try and work on ways of disconnecting. And, we all have different things that we have to do nowadays with work, etc. And very often it is online. So maybe making a schedule or choosing a day where you just go, no, not going to be on that. You only allow emergency phone calls through or text through. You only, anything that you can do to remove yourself from devices every now and again. I think it's really important. It's part of self-nurturing. It's just, how it is now. I quite like doing these little lines. They just like popped out of nowhere because I don't always know what patterns to make, but it kind of all goes together. It's almost fibre optic, isn't it? I quite liked that. Oh, it's fun. And so as you play like this, you start to realize that that's the little rubber tip thing, sorry. As you play, your mind becomes quiet because you are just looking at things and thinking, well, you're not even thinking. Well, I don't, I must admit. I just play and just see what happens. And I don't make decisions fast, so there are times when I'm hesitating. I do try and edit it so that you don't have to wait with my indecision. But, I think it's really important to just try and do something opposite to what you normally do. If you are normally quite like light with your pencil, try and do something dark. If you, if you don't do abstract, well, just give it a go. And literally just put paint around the page and just see what happens. You might hate it, and you know what, that's okay. I sold a painting to a friend of mine that I really did not like, and she thought it was stunning. And she said to me, oh, I thought you probably wouldn't like it because it's not really your style, but I love it. And I just thought that was really funny. So, just go with it. You never know. You never know what's going to happen. And so we spend so much of our time, criticizing ourselves or thinking that we're doing the wrong thing or not wanting to try. I think that's my biggest thing, not wanting to try because I might mess it up. And so I'm trying to get through that one, I think, by just stepping into certain things and going, well, I'm just going to give it a go. And it's simple things too. It's just stuff that I never got taught. And so I've just weirdly not tried to teach myself or not actually, gone further with it. But anyway, we're wrapping it up now. Let's see what happens next.
I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to pull off the sides. Let's see. But also remembering, well, I'm remembering and reminding myself that I started doing this because I didn't feel good. And I wanted to feel better. And I must admit, it really did the trick. I'm obviously filming on a different day, so I can't even, I won't, lie to you. It wasn't the easiest thing, but it definitely helped. In just, I don't know, it's like something in your heart opens and you just settle down and start to think clearly. Ooh, I don't mind that. That's very cute. Yeah, I might even sign this one. Nice. So I could still take in like the black pen or maybe more of a fine liner and do some little dots and stuff like that. I'll see how I feel. But I'll tell you what I do, and I'll post a picture. I also take a photo with my iPhone, and I change it to black and white because I want to see where the contrasts are. Where's it really pale? Where do things need to stand out? And that actually helps me with knowing what to do next. Okay, so yeah, I'm actually quite pleased. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, and try it. Just go into your art, don't think of anything. Basically be prepared to make ugly art. When you're prepared to make ugly art, you don't care. I don't have to put this up for sale. I don't have to do anything with it. That I just don't. The fact that I put my heart and soul into it and it really turned things around for me and made me feel better, that is priceless. So crack open your watercolor paints and just dabble, play, splash, blob, do a few things. But do yourself a favor. Before you even start, select what you would like to put with your artwork. So like for me, I had in easy reach, I obviously had the palette, I had some oil pastels, and I had pencil, as well as my brushes and water and paper towel. Just bring everything to the same space so that you do not feel, oh, I forgot something, or oh, I'm going to have to get up now because I really want to put something else there. Just try and see if you can only use what you put in front of you, and then that also makes for a nice and peaceful, calm way of creating. Well, have fun, enjoy your week ahead. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.